How's it going, everybody? Back again with another podcast. This one's going to be a belter. So, yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to switch on my laptop plug here. Make sure my power doesn't run out during the podcast. Um, so this is a special episode. I'm joined by a couple of good friends, and we're going to be talking about something really close to my heart. Talking about my Wayne. I refer to it as my Wayne. Uh, we're going to talk about Fit Ayrshire Dads. That is a special group that all three guys on this call today have been part of for a long time. Been on my mind to do this for such a long time, to tell the story of fads. A lot of people still to this day ask me how is it formed, what's it about, what's the story. And I never know where to start. Well, this podcast actually allows me to do this, and I've got two boys that have been on their own journeys. They've been part of fads for the get-go. They've shared so much in that page, in that community. They've impacted loads and loads of people themselves. And it seems a fitting pair to bring on to join us, and Robert and Davy. So yeah, we're going to be getting into that. But welcome on board, boys. This is going to be good.
Great,
Afternoon,
great to
mate.
hear. Thanks very much for inviting us on and having us here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. So I don't know, like we can go at this with so many angles. Uh, so I guess for somebody, there's going to be a lot of people that listen to this podcast. My podcast's all about mindset and mental health, right? But this is a bit of a special one. But there's going to be uh, loads of overlap into those two subjects in terms of fads. So for anybody who doesn't know uh, what what fads is, we'll go back in a little bit about how it was created and all that. But I'm going to get both of your takes. What is fads? What is Fit Ayrshire Dads, Davy?
Fads, for me, you asked me that question, or the question was put up in Fads no long after I joined it, after I get involved. I'm not going to say joined, involved. And my answer to that question was imagine having 100 personal trainers at your beck and call and not one of them asking you for a penny. All they want you to do is your best. Be your best to be your best. And that to me was Fads because there's so much, it's such a diverse platform. There's so many different uh, people and careers and qualifications on it that everybody's got. So any issues, absolutely any issues you have within fads, you should find an answer or get pointed in the right direction. It's just fads for me. I think I found out who I was through fads. Basically, that's what fads has done for me. Fads is has been a lifeline.
Hmm. Robert?
Quite simple.
Um, Community of men who have a safe environment to talk, to have that opportunity to express themselves, be it physically, be it mentally. Um, I think I hate using the word, but I think it is a word. It's a unique group that's been created, and through the years, it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, yeah, there's nothing out there. That's why the word unique comes into it. There's nothing out there that guys can come onto a Facebook page and express their feelings, whether they do it anonymously or whether they're quite open about it. And we jump on it. We just give them. Some people have experienced the same thing as them, and yeah, it's a safe environment for men to come on and express themselves, and I think it's a fantastic community, and it's going stronger and stronger and stronger every year. So no, that for me was, and it was a safe haven. As you say, you go to the pub and speak to your mates, you're like, gross it, but this is completely different. That's why I like to use that word unique.
A place where you
Unique.
could be yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's. I've always said it when the page started, and then to this day, when the members come on board, I'll always comment on the new members. You know, this is a safe environment. We will have your back 100%, no matter what you do. Whether you just look in on the page, whether you go to walk and talk, whether you want to try the couch to 5K, we've got your back. And that for me is the strength in this page. that nobody's going to feel unsafe, lonely, and yeah, I think that's what I like about it, and that's what I really love about it. I mean,
No,
for the guy,
no egos in the page either. No egos blasting at
no,
you. You feel valued.
100%. And I think with Kevin, when Kevin started it, I mean, what's that? August 2018, Kev.
August 18.
Obviously, because I mean, I always to this day when people say, "What is the fire so dads?" and you think, like, "How long you got?" I mean, have a seat, get a coffee, let's have a chat about it. And I say, it's one guy who suffered. I mean, I always say that you couldn't lift Tilly up, you couldn't, your back, excruciating back pain, you're lying on the floor, the pain, and you come up with this mad idea of creating a page, and that mad idea is just imploded, man. It's just been brilliant, and I'm so grateful it's been there because it has helped me over the years. When I was working in the motor trade, it's just the page itself. Whether you look in and see other people's journeys, and you think to yourself, you know what, and then it gives you that opportunity to communicate, to be part of it, to talk to somebody else. Not just for me, the page has helped me, but I know that I've helped others. Do you know what I mean? Whether just getting them onto the page. So no, I think it's been a brilliant journey. I mean, that's what 6 years. It's hard to believe that's 6 years in August that the page has been up and running. You know,
No,
it's
uh, both two really, really good sort of takes on it. I've been thinking a lot about this because certainly because we were going to be doing this conversation, and I've reframed my answer so many times in my head. I think fads is it's it's like a key to a door, but many doors. Um, what like when I think about fads as a key, all these different doors that represent different things, connection, honesty, authenticity, um, relationships, all these things, fads has enhanced my life.
yep,
Like I was thinking yesterday, like at the moment, no running and things like that. And I says, you just I puts on fads page. MD want to go down to the football, down to watch a football game. And I was thinking there was like 7 years or something like that, 6 or 7 years standing watching the game. And we were laughing about stuff, right? Just laughing and silly stuff, just boys being okay. And I was like looking and I'm going, I met all these boys through fads.
yep,
And I can think of loads of examples like that. It wouldn't have happened without that page. I got a message last night for Levi, a picture, a memory, and I went, I know him through fads. This conversation, I met both of you through fads. Uh, Things that we've done, the the raising money was through fads, was doing things in the community through fads. It's absolutely made me a better man.
100%.
Without a shadow of a doubt. 6 years, and I'll tell you something. I would think that 6 years has been the biggest period of growth for me, without a doubt. And I would be a fool not to credit a huge part of that to fads. So I think about it as a key. It's a key that opens doors. If you think about, like, as a man, the day without a community like that, it's just closed doors. It's just closed. You're just surrounded with closed doors you can't go through. Doors you're terrified to open. Door you don't know what to do. Whereas fads opens doors.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from, though, Kev? Where did the initial, like, before, just, you're saying it
Aye,
was created in August 2018, but what spurred you on? What actually,
no, it's a
what
good
flipped the
because I've
switch, sort of
talked
thing?
I've talked about this like bits and stuff. Uh, Probably talked about it at length to Robert before, in the early days. So what had happened was, um, I had years and years of doing nothing. I was really overweight. I was really unhealthy. Um, drinking, taking drugs socially, um, no good, pretty just, aye, just no really doing so good. Physical problems, my back, my discs, everything really just struggling. I think I was just surviving, living a lie, no, living many lies, I think. And what had happened was I got to, we had a New Year party and it was on the 2nd of January. I was 39 and I think and I was, my 40th was the following year. I stood in the scales and it was the heaviest I'd been. I'm looking at my face. I looked really rough. I was rough anyway for the night before, but I looked really rough, looked unwell, felt like shit. And I went, this has got to stop. I had got over my back. I think I'd got over my back problems and I was still really using my body in the right way. So I started to, uh, I started to run. I was going to park run and stuff, and the famous story which I've told every day, I would projectile vomiting, run park run, Eglinton park run, spewing out my mouth, and going, this fucking running is no for me. Spewing, and I'm like, wait, what? Who does this for fun? Um, but telling myself that this is where it stops. So I'd started to kind of get a grip of my health. I started to reverse. I felt like I was starting to reverse things. But what I instantly was aware of, that I was suddenly feeling really good about myself. So I started doing, Gezi Harkins actually uh, messaged me this week saying thank you. He's just been out doing Chicago Marathon. He went, thank you for inspiring me when you were doing that. And it was a thing called Fuck 40, hashtag Fuck 40. And that was my motivation, that on my 40th birthday, I would be the fittest and healthiest I'd ever been in my life. So fast forward the tape, I'm now really doing great. I'm getting closer to my birthday. On my birthday, we're going to have a 40th birthday party, and I get the first ferry over to Arran and ran up Goat. Well, I kind of hopped up Goat Fell, and I remember going, I did it. I did it. This is what it means when you say you're going to do something, you fucking do it. And that was my first time that I'd actually went, wow, right, look, well, what's just happened here? And then it dawned on me that no every man out there is quite as stubborn as me, as maybe or as determined as me. They maybe want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. And so I kind of thought to myself, I wonder if I could make. And also around about that time, I spoke to a dad who was really struggling. The guy's a friend, and I'll never name him, but he told me that he was really quite embarrassed about himself as a dad, and that was the trigger. So I had paired what I'd just done along with this story that this friend of mine was sharing with me, that he was a bit ashamed of himself as a dad, and he was overweight, he was unhealthy, everything that I had felt. But I did something right, and I realised that this guy, as well as loads of other guys, don't know what to do. So I said I would make this little page, this little place where I would invite in some friends and I would try and get like maybe somebody that knows a wee bit about nutrition and somebody that maybe knows a wee bit about workouts, stuff like that. And it was just a wee small group, and it just absolutely exploded. And what was really obvious was that men were desperate for this. They were absolutely desperate and they didn't even know.
Yep.
It was, uh, uh, people say, did you have any idea it was going to do what it did? No way could you predict that. I imagined it'd be a handful of boys, probably Fairvin, co-winning type thing. We would just have each other's backs, sort of a bit of positive masculinity in there. Um, and right at the early, I just started talking. I remember I just started doing the live videos and stuff, and I just started talking, just started doing little things, little videos, and thinking, is anybody even fucking watching this? I don't even know. I'm just going to do them anyway. And then it just exploded. But the biggest thing that I'm taking away for that story is what I've just said there is we were desperate for it. We were absolutely hungry for something that we could call ours, that men could go, this is mine. You know, um, we would do, as I say, men would say to me, I love it. I was seeing the live videos, though, like when we did them in the early, I would just go and sit somewhere at the road and she'd be like, what is that you're listening to? The missus and like that. Never mind. This is mine. This is fad stuff. And it was just, it was like a huge cult had been born, but in a cult in a really, really positive way because it was just fucking so positive. Like
I've heard it called that so many times. I've heard that word used, the cult. I don't know whether I like it or no, but it's so true. It's absolutely so true. So, as Robert says, I know when you're talking about fads, see when you're talking to another fad about fads, you are absolutely buzzing
aye.
off each other. But when you talk to somebody that doesn't get it, try to promote it, it's so difficult to get that feeling across. Like you've got to be in it. You've got to get involved. It's just it's phenomenal, phenomenal.
I know you. Have you used the word key for doors and stuff? I remember when we had the awards night at the Parks Hotel, I used the eulogy as a train, the fad train, and you were the driver of the train. And all the admins were the
Oh,
ticket
oh.
inspectors. All the admins were ticket
Tickets, please.
inspectors. And the train, the years have went by, the trains get bigger and bigger and bigger, and these carriages have grown and grown and grown. And when the doors opened, you had the opportunity to step off that train, but you had another opportunity for people to step onto that fad train to
Yeah.
begin the journey with everybody else. And it was never, I never looked at it as a negative. Like, if you want to step off the train, that door will always open back up. So it's similar to what you said. And that train just get bigger. And as the years went by, it got bigger. But you were still at the forefront, making sure that train kept going down that road. And us as admins were like, ticket, that's fine, welcome to the fad train. Are you getting off? You staying on? No, I want to stay on just to see what this is all about.
We'll come back
And
to the admin part, right? But I'm keen to get used to how did you both individually become involved in fads? Because this is what's important, understanding men's journeys and how did you find the page? What did you initially think, and how did it shape you in the early days?
when, well, it was Mark Bellew, Boban. He tagged me in. I think it was a month after. I think it was September 2018. He tagged me into this, and I'm thinking, what's he tagged me in here? And then it's difficult. It's difficult to think back when it started. What the page, what it was. I thought, but Boban and I were at West Kilbride Amateurs for a long time. Both of these were coaches, and I was heavily involved in amateur football for many, many years, for over 20 years, Sunday football, then amateur football, and I get good. Boban is still a good friend, and he tagged me onto the page. And from then on, it was just watching the page at the time. In the early days, it was, as you say, it was very small numbers, but before you knew it, I think we were at 1,000 members within a couple of months, Kevin, and just think, this is something that's all right, okay. And just to see people's different attitude towards it. So to this day, I'm so thankful that Boban's tagged me in that and put me onto that page, because the page for me, it's helped me in so many ways with my mental health. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I'm an all right guy. Family life's brilliant, but there was a stage in my life that I needed the page. And I'm so grateful that Boban tagged me onto that page.
Mhm.
And just to watch things grow. I mean, when you think back in the early days, I think the very first, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, the very first event was the Losers Group over at Drew Wilson's place.
Yep.
And I still remember it as clear as day. You had come over to introduce us to Drew when he had his gym. And it was like the first school disco you went to. Everybody standing against the wall, looking at each other going, what the fuck what am I doing here? Really? What's this all about? Guys to corner that, biting their nails and looking outside the window to see is that window opened? Can I jump through that window? And you think to yourself, and that's where it started. And I was at Drew's gym for well over, I think it was nearly a year. And that's where guys that you've never met before, that's where friendship started. That's where it started to blossom. I mean, I think Andy Chalmers was still there. I mean, there was so many different people that were there. But then to hear people's stories, like Andy Chalmers says he was out in the car park and he says he chewed all his fingernails before he even stepped out the car. And just taking that step out the car and coming into the gym, but everybody's standing going, aye. Oh, I'm Rab. How's it going? Aye. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck have I come in here? And when you look back, you laugh at it, but the smile in your face is beaming, thinking, that's where it started for me, the Losers Group, and it just grew bigger and bigger, and the events just started to sort of come onto it. I mean, I want to talk so much about the events page. I think for me, what elevated the page to a completely different level. I mean, from there to there was when COVID started.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck me, Kevin, some of the ideas that we come up with. I mean, you think past the baton, hunters v hunted. Who came up with these ideas? I mean, you think
Blind Billy, another one, there's loads.
And there's hundreds of them. You think just still that thing. And it just took it to a different level. I mean, COVID affected people in so many different ways. Sadly, it was a terrible time for so many. But for the page, and I'm taking it as a positive, COVID for the page just completely elevated to a different level. For admins to think to themselves, right, what can we do next? I mean, the fucking cracker challenge, you remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Had to sit and eat how many crackers? And then the one with balancing the water on the top of your head to see if you can go on the floor. Guys were taping fucking cups to their head to try and beat this record. Guys that were saying that you can eat the crackers, but you can't put water in it. And some guys were eating crackers before you know water was dribbling out their chin. You think, what's this of it? And
get it back.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. The page helped me so much. I mean, there was a stage in my life that I was so depressed with work, not home. I mean, there was times I drove back from my job when I worked in Darnley, and I can't remember driving home. I was so stressed out. Yourself, Kevin, I spoke to you about it, and the page helped me so much at that time.
Yeah.
But to think back, 6 years, 6 years. This has been going on for 6 years, and we're still growing to this day. But no, Boban, I thank him for that. And as you said, I've met some fantastic people, some fantastic guys who I still, and I will call good friends to this day. I've always believed in life there's 5 people you can pick the phone up to. I know what my 5 people are, and they'll always answer. I've always said 5 people that you can phone that will always pick up that phone, and I know the 5 that I can rely on. But no, it's been good. No, the page, COVID for me was when it took the page to a different level completely. I mean, some of the ideas, man, fucking hell.
What were you, Davey?
I'm laughing because I told you this story once when we were out a run about fads. You spoke about it earlier. I was one of the guys. I didn't need fads. Ayrshire boy. I worked with Derek Sked. Derek has been involved for day one with yourselves and what have you. So knew all about fads and everything it was about. But I was, I suppose, one of the guys that just didn't realise that I needed fads. But just it was one of the things. And believe it or not, it was sabotage that I became a member of Ayrshire Dads because I left my computer open one day with the Facebook page open at work, and when I returned to the computer, it was a schoolboy error. My profile picture had been changed, so I knew straight away on, oh, here we go. So looking through everything, I had become I asked to be friends with all the management in sight and everything, and Facebook pages a certain football team that I don't really like. I was asked down to go to all the and Fit Ayrshire Dads was one that was included in that.
Oh wow.
I managed to delete quite a few of the requests. I managed to get to them quick enough. But I wasn't quick enough to beat Derek Sked and accepting me onto Fit Ayrshire Dads. And I wasn't going to then come off it because, I was working with Derek at the time and all that. And I thought, no, I'll just leave it. I actually, a wee look back, that was the 13th of February 2019 I joined. And I'm going to go back to what Rob said, just it was March 2020 when COVID came around. And it was COVID actually for me was a cement for Fit Ayrshire Dads for a lot of guys, because it made them realise, as you said, Kev, that they needed something like that. They needed to get involved in doing things like that. The big changing point for me, actually, using fads, although I became a member and unwillingly, if the page was there and I was on every now and again, in awe of what I was reading, seeing, and folk doing, and what have you. It was October 2019. October 2019, the 30th of October. That's my daughter's birthday. I was taken into hospital. It was sepsis, but when they managed to get on top of that straight away, cut a long story short, I get released with diabetes. I was told I was diabetic type 2. And that was the point in my life where I was actually had me injecting insulin. And I hated that. I hated, not that it was sore injecting, it's just, I hated all of a sudden being that guy that was dependent and doing that. I felt as if I had to do it before every meal. It was as if I was just sitting down and I had to go and inject again and all that. So I realised then that changes had to be made. Being a member of Fit Ayrshire Dads and seeing and reading all the things that you come up with your videos, Kev, one of the mantras, take the hill. It's one that sticks with me often because that was the point where I had that choice. I was standing at the foot of the hill. I could have continued injecting myself and kept the lifestyle going that I was living, but it wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. When I look back now, when I see what I've got now, the circle of friends that I've got now and all that, I'm not saying that the circle of friends I had before were bad. They weren't, far from it. They're a great lifestyle, but it wasn't really me. I said before, I found myself through fads, and that's such a true statement because I've got a circle of friends now that are second to none. Took the hill. I started exercising. I went out a run, a thing I'd never done, and found that I'd managed it. I was quite surprised with myself because I even hated looking at a treadmill in gym and things like that. It wasn't me. But I went out a run, come back and managed it, and I eventually built myself up to go on 10Ks. And then there was one night I think that it was the lockdown had just finished and Nicola had just opened the pubs up again, and I was up in my local pub. Friday night it was my local pub, but COVID changed the pub scene, and I was in the pub and I was so bored. I had one bottle of beer and I put it down. I thought, no, I'm not enjoying this. I come back home, and went onto the Facebook page and seen that the fads were doing a Dundonald 10K on the Saturday morning, and I clicked going. And there and then I just stopped what I was doing. I said to my wife, I said, right, I'm going up to bed now. She says, this early? I says, I've just committed to running with the Fit Ayrshire Dads and more. It's the first I've ever met them. I'm doing the Dundonald 10K. I was quite confident I could do a 10K. I'm going to bite the bullet and meet these guys. So Saturday morning comes, I turns up at Dundonald. There's the old Levi there welcoming me and all that, and all the old guard, old rodders and all that, and Monty and them all, they're all standing there. And the fads rules, no one's left behind, and the slow sets the pace, all that. So Levi says to me, right, Davey, he says, you're just new. How do you feel about this? I'm quite confident I'll get a 10K. I'm okay. I'm not the fastest. This is, but I need the company. I've been doing it on my own for too long. He says, right, let's go. So he starts running down the side of the visitor centre into the woods. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. Where have we got? Dundonald 10K, is it? No, the road. He says, what are you talking about, Davy lad? What are you talking about? And I'm like, well, where are we going next thing? Cardiac Hill. I went, oh, we are fucking. But I done it. I got up. I managed to run up I just so proud of the fact I ran up Dundonald Hill, and Levi said to me at the top, I was one of the first that ever managed to run all the way up. Now he came that morning, and I'm sitting in the dining out with the biggest. He thought it swallowed a coat hanger, the biggest smile on my face. Morag, my wife, comes down to us. She says, "What's happened to you? What's with you?" So I've just ran up Dundonald Hill. It was just that, and that was it for me. That was me hooked, absolutely hooked with Fit Ayrshire Dads. It's just been, and then obviously with the COVID, the lockdown came again, and then the challenges was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The videos, watching every day, and just guys having fun. But actually, as well as having fun, we were exercising and all. We were, commitment was there today. The challenges, and it just worked. It was absolutely fantastic, and got me hooked. on it. I've often said as well, I know, see, with the running, I'd come home for a run and say to the wife that I'd done a 5K, I'd done a 10K, and you get the old Kevin Bridges response, did you, aye? You know what I mean? And that was it. And I was like, oh, well, you're looking for that bit of praise. Anybody with kids, you know, you get a kid today, anything, you get a wee bit of praise, a wee pat in the back, or a well done. And that's what you're looking for. In fact, Ayrshire dads, if you put anything up what you've done, even if it's just a wee walk, see if you just get that like, that thumbs up or comment, that's the pat in the back, that's the praise. That makes you feel good. That makes you realise that you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? You're in the right road in your journey. And it's not just that, it's some of the ones that were commenting in my runs, your Richie Harkins and yourself, Kevin, all that guys that really, really good runners, really competent runners, and the other guys I know, you know, guys that were just starting their journey. That's what I said earlier. There's no egos, but it was so good to get these guys actually even commenting and saying how well I was doing and what have you. It's just inspiring. That was the motivation that you need. You need to. I think that's important that you keep in top of. You keep like motivating guys. You keep doing that. And there's Fit Your Dads. That's the page that does it.
And one of
You're not going
the
to get anybody else.
an interesting thing about what you're talking about there is and again there'll still be people listening to this going like that, what the hell, what is this? You know, there'll still be they're still listening cold. So it's predominantly it's a Facebook group. You know, we the object was to do something good with social media in a world where social media isn't really very good. You don't want to really read too much. It's all very negative. It's all very and the Fittier Dads has got a couple of really fundamental rules, but the most important rule is there's nothing negative is allowed. It's non-negotiable. I remember people telling me at the beginning, that will never work, and I went.
I remember you saying that.
Honestly,
people had tried similar things.
I could cast up a couple of things. I was told it will never work, and I was told it will be a fad. It'll be a gone in a heartbeat. You know, it'll be a flash in the pan. And well, you boys know enough about me to know where that ended up. But you know, if I knew in my head, in my heart, that it would work and it would be a success and it would be positive. And I actually loved what Robert said earlier as well about the doors opening and people can get off as well as get on. Because I could tell you over the 6 years, I've had about 30 conversations with guys going, I had to leave that fads, man. Too fucking positive, all that shite for me. Okay. I'm
Absolutely.
all the best.
You don't
It's
need
not,
it then.
it's you know, like it's free. It's free.
Exactly.
It's absolutely free. It's like a lot of these things. You get what you get what you put in. You know, it's a transactional thing, fads. Is if you want the positivity and you want to be encouraged and all that, and then just throw yourself in there and just get in about it. And like David did that day, go along with something and just get out your comfort zone and know that nobody will leave you behind and you'll be all right and you'll probably meet a pal by the end of it. And isn't that all right? You know, but for some guys, I think the biggest thing I've seen is the guys that are uncomfortable with all that is because there's stuff there they're not ready to address. I would say 9 out of 10 of the boys that will have that conversation with me about, I had to come off that, you know, that fucking patting each other on the back and all that. And I'm like,
Really?
really? If you're not down with positive masculinity in 2024, then I don't know, man. You need to look in the mirror. You know, you need to look in the mirror and go, what is it that I've no dealt with inside me that I can't have another guy giving me, well done, mate.
Praise.
Well done, mate. Or I can't bring myself to say to a guy, okay, now I've just seen that boy post, Davey there posting that he's been out and he's ran at fucking 5 o'clock this morning. By the way, take my hat off to you. I would have struggled doing that. Excellent, well done, whatever it is. But it's been the positivity thing has been a real interesting one. I think I told Robert this No, I think it was Keith Cochran I told this, but I certainly talked about it on Fads a long time ago. That one of the interesting things in the early days, bear in mind, see for MD listening to this, Fads was the first of its kind. There's an awful lot of men's groups and men's work and Andy's Man this and Release This and all these other things. Fads was first. We
Yep.
were the kid on the block breaking all new ground. Nobody was doing what we were doing. And what was really interesting in those early days was I was watching this really because a lot of men would add me as a friend, and that was okay, you know. But what I found was a lot of men on their own social media were portraying themselves, you know, I guess quite negatively, quite toxic, you know, no saying the best of things, like really dodgy views. But when they were coming onto the fads page, they were sound and they
Yeah.
were really good and really positive and I was like, you guys are in such conflict. You're the guy that you think your connections want to see, and then you're the guy that I think that you realise is much better to be
Mm.
in fads.
Yep.
And that was a beautiful thing, but a very complex thing for me to get my head around. In the early days, watching these men in conflict with themselves, putting out silly stuff about football or hate or religion or um, just bullshit. And but then coming on to fads and as Davey was talking about, just being encouraging and no a bad thing coming at them. And those very same men, I don't see them doing that at all anymore. You know, it's they've clearly changed.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because when I started the walk and talks, because everybody, well, not everybody, I am sure there was a majority who thought the Faz was a running page.
Yep.
And it was never a running page.
Yep.
There was just guys that wanted to do the Couch to 5K, the 10K, the not what, the Donald. But we made sure on the early days, it's not a running page. You know, you had cycle events. Then I thought, let's go for the walk and talk. Let's start the walk and talk event. And that was just an opportunity for guys to be themselves. There was guys that would turn up and not say a word.
Yep.
But there was just that opportunity to have that chat that there's guys that maybe in the house who's had a bad day at work and he just wanted a wee release. Let's go for a walk and talk. And we created a walk and talk event. And I remember one guy turned up, and I think we went to the beach park. And when you think back, the cock walk, that's what it became, the cock walk. It was me and Andy Chalmers and we're doing, because me and Andy, there was times it was just me and Andy would turn up, and then we looked at the map and think we could sort of tweak this a wee bit. And then that's when it became the cock walk. And folk are saying to this day, what's because when people who didn't know what it was, when they saw the picture, and they're like, that looks like a cock. Well, it's a cock walk. But there was one guy I remember who turned up. I don't think he was that long on the page. He was suffering. He lost his job, and I'm not going to name who he was. He lost his job, and he just needed that hour to be out the house. And it was he never said much, and he said at the end of it, and I still remember it. He says, "Do you know? I'm not going to lie." He says, "I thought this walk and talk that you were all doctors and psychologists." I'm like, "No, we're just normal guys. They just want to come out and chat." He says, "I was really apprehensive, thinking I'm spelling my guts to here to a doctor." And I says, "No, we're just normal guys." And he looked at me and he laughed. He went, "I know that now. I'll see you next week." And I thought, brilliant. That's the impact. The walk and talks at Eggy Park. That's where it all started. Eggy Park. Then we took to the beach park because Eggy Park was too a mess. And the guys that would turn up would be the same guys week in, week out. Would promote it, get other guys on the page. And, it continued for so long. But no, the laughs that you had at the walk and talks, I mean, we would talk about changing the world, or we would fix the world within an hour on these walk and talks.
Absolutely.
I mean, the stuff that he spoke about, man, you're like, holy fuck. And you would get up the road in the car, you could be soaked to the skin, but you still had that coat hanging effect, Dave, as you put it, in your face, thinking, it's a crack night, you know.
Yeah.
An hour, you can change the world. An hour, you can change somebody's mindset. And for that guy to think we were fucking doctors, geez, oh mate, no, we're just guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're just dads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, adults, men, just going out and just releasing that. He says, oh, brilliant. So
Well,
no,
the
it
thing
was,
is, you would get more out of an hour at a walk and talk than you're going to get at any doctor's appointment.
100%.
I mean,
You would need 6 months to get an appointment with a doctor. You can turn up at a FAD event and that's it. You're sorted, you know what I mean? Or as good as.
it's no wonder that for a long period of time, all the fads flyers and stuff were in doctors' surgeries and stuff like that for that very reason. Because
True.
doctors, we've got a lot of doctors on the page, you know, and you know God, I remember Scott Williamson. He's a paediatric doctor. He for Sturton, you know, I remember him in the early days. In fact, he did the chewing the fat chat on during COVID, whereas and you know we've got quite a few doctors on the page, and they think what it does is incredible, and you know the doctors are very limited in what they can offer a man, and it's you know the thing about what we're talking about here is and it's a pillar that I believe in. It's connection. You know, it's all about connection, and men need connection. This goes. I've been really tuned into this theory and stuff a lot recently about how men, since way back in the early days of tribes and things like that, would sit at a fire in a circle and talk. They would articulate themselves in the best way that they could about their problems and the things that were going on, and the circle would be of everybody in the village or that you know in that tribe, and you would have elders and you would have younger and you'd have people of different backgrounds and skill sets and stuff, and people would help that man with his problems, so that they won the problems. They would share, they would work it out, find a way, because there was no alternative. Had to find a way, and that is what fads is do. That's what the walking talks would do. That's what you know. Davey going out a run with Paul and you know
He's
Alex and that. You know that's what it is. That's what the work is. That's you sort your shit out, and
therapy sessions.
you know that the fad that like the fad that you're talking to is going to hold the space for you to talk and hold you accountable for your bullshit.
Absolutely. 100%.
When you think as well, I mean, I stay in Ardrossan and I look out my daughter's window. Now, before fads had started, I can see Aaron every day. Right? Now, I've done 2 Tough Mudders and I've walked up that goat fell 3 times. Kev, you've done your 3 triple challenge and your quadruple challenge, and I've done a walk and talk over there as well. I would never have done that without the fads. I mean, when we went to the first one, I think still to this day, we've got the record for taking so many men to that Tough Mudder, and that was again a phenomenal day. I would never have done that. I would never have done that. And I, hand on heart, still say to this day, I would have never done that if it wasn't for the fads.
You know what's funny about that, Robert? Like, as I'm hearing that, like, I picture, like, let's just pick you, right? I pictured you at that Tough Mudder, and I can see you laughing at that right now. I've got everybody's faces etched in my mind, right? I can see you in that. But it's interesting, isn't it? See if you were to, say you'd got off that train right at the beginning. Imagine all those things you would have missed. Imagine all the experiences you would have gained, all the things you would have done, all the moments and memories that you've now got, both 3 years. It's
honestly,
incredible.
I mean, to remember that, the bus journey up, was what a laugh. Nah, 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 nah. I mean, he's talking, coming on. It was that funny because when we all turned up, we were like, oh, this is going to be brilliant. We're going to help each other. Nobody get left behind. By this, by that. And then weeks up to that, It went so well. It was organised brilliantly. We'd everything done. And then the map came out. And everybody, I think, questioned the Arctic Enema. What the fuck is that all about? And I still remember that day sliding down that fucking tube and hitting that water. But you came out on the other side, and I've still got the picture, and I'm standing up going, yes! And every fan's going, yes! Let's go! Come on! Let's go. And coming down that hill, and we're all shouting, and we're soaked to the skin. And I remember you saying to me, when you come out the Arctic Enema, just because you're waiting for the other guys to come down, slap your hands, you look around, there's like 50 guys going like that. Then we try to keep warm, and it was just an absolutely epic day. And the memories, as you say, when the memories come onto your Facebook page, you think, brilliant day. We were there as a team. We started together. We finished. We all crossed that line at the very end through that electricity thing, man. And Keith's face when he fell. But then Dungop fell. I mean, I know you sort of agreed to do this mad challenge of going up Goat Fell 3 times. And I remember at the very start, we were all there. It didn't help that day that Derek brought the fad. He brought the fad hoodies and fad t-shirts, so you'd actually double the weight going up this fucking mountain. And then seeing you, I've still got the videos of you going up and coming down. And then then Danny was there with telling you, thinking, right, we've got a ferry to fucking catch. We've got a ferry to catch. I think we're going to have to all find digs to stay overnight. And then you come down and I think your shoe came off. And
aye.
And I remember you coming down the hill at the very end and being like, yes, Kevin, brilliant, Kevin. Right, hurry up, we've got a fucking ferry to catch. And it was great memories, but the laughs, and then you took that mad thing, right, I'm going to do it 4 times now, and you think, that's something you want to be part of. And if anybody wants to get involved in this page, look at if you're on the page, look back at the memories and look at people's videos and then look at people's photographs and the events that we've done. And it was just phenomenal. As I say, I would never have done it without the page. And you smile with pride to think to yourself. And then I remember standing at the top of the hill at Go Fell on the triple, and I done a video with my kids. I says, I've done it. Look, this fucking thing, I've done it. Look. And I still get the same video, and I was so proud to be part of that day. And that was brilliant. That was a good laugh.
What were you, Davey?
Just exactly what Rob's saying. The amount of memories I've got, the amount of things I've achieved since starting with the fads. Honestly, the list is endless, and I smile through everything that's getting said here because I'm connected in some way or another. It wasn't that Tough Mudder I was at, was it the one after it?
Yeah.
And the lasting memory with me is Big Kieran. It was just absolutely hilarious, sorry, because he had the mad idea just to do it in his joggy bottoms, and he didn't have shorts on under his joggy bottoms. And we done the Block Ness Monsters when you're in the water going over the blocks. I can just see his big arse coming up out the water. And we got so far, we done Block Ness, and then it was the Mud Hills we were going through. And I think it was John Bell when we managed to get Big Kieran through, and we got out the other end of the Mud Hills and all that, and John's like, oh, that's just getting off Kieran's joggy bottoms, and Kieran done the rest of Tough Mud on his boxers.
Well, it was actually me and John standing talking to him, and he's got these big, thick cotton trackies, and they're so, as you say, David, they were weighing a ton. And I looks at John, and I looks at Kieran, and I went, "You want to run in your pants? They need to come up." And he went,
the pockets were hanging out the elephant's ears.
He says, "What?" I says, "Get him off." And we're pulling the breeks off him, and there's women going by, and we're pulling the breeks off Kieran. And he's like, his face, he's laughing. And he went, can I see it? I says, let's go. And he did it.
In his 16K that day, you know what I mean?
Oh, I remember, was it the start of the week, Kieran had put a post up on his own page, how do you know me? Sort of, if you can comment how you know me, he says, well, you're the only guy that I know it's finished Tough Mud in a set of boxer shorts. The only guy that I know it's done Tough Mud in boxer shorts. And it's things like that, it's wee things like that really think back, wow, what a day. To finish, when you think about it, oh man, the laugh.
What other things, Davey, for you, have you kind of things you've done?
It's For me, well, Rab's walking talks, that's right. Obviously, when I started getting involved with the group with Levi, that was the next step for me. I went to the walking talk, met up with Big Rab and Andy Chalmers and all the boys, and was a constant at the walking talks for a while. They were just phenomenal. As Rab says, sometimes you don't realise that's all you need to do to feel better is talk. You know what I mean? It sounds crazy, but you can have a million things going on in your head, but see when you actually hear yourself saying them, when you actually hear yourself talking to people and how you realise how deep things are and you get it off your chest, that sometimes is all you need. You finish that walk and talk and you think, hey, I feel actually a lot better just having talked. And maybe, things aren't just as bad as I was imagining. So the walking talks were great for me. And then, and when I talk about walking talks, a big one that comes to mind, there was a challenge on at the time, the north against the south, that with the steps. And we went up to the wind farm. Remember that one, Ralph, with Davy Johnson? He was in the opposite team. we tried to finish him off that day. But the banter that day, it was just the jokes were gone and everybody just the camaraderie. And as you said, Rab, going back to what you said, we stunning with the boys, your backs against the wall, your first time sort of thing, and no MD. That walked. None of us knew each other, but if it wasn't through fads, just the friendship that we've got now, that it made me actually realise I was so grateful for fads. I'm the kind of guy. For me, it was all about payback now, and that's how I set up the early birds at Drecorn. And there's certain things happened. I remember Big Rab saying once in conversation that his dream was to get a walk and talk and get an attendance of 100 or over 100 folk there, and it stuck with me for a while. And then the opportunity came along where I could maybe have done something about it. It was one of the boys at work had said that his son, who was born with it, I think it was his right hand, his left, one of his hands, he was trying to raise money to get the bionic in the arm, and that I was putting everything together. How could I help you? What could I do? And managed to arrange and get a big walk and talk for Logan. We called it. It wasn't through fads, but it was fads mentality that made me do it. And I managed to get well over 100 that day. And Big Rab was there helping us out that day, and it was just phenomenal to see that many folks strolling about, that many faces, that many smiles going about the beach park that day, getting that, and managed to raise the money and get the boy's arm. And again, that's something, if it wasn't for Fit Ayrshire Dads, I would never even had the inclination to even think about. I just get, it pains me now to think people are growing older and not realising the potential of their own bodies, and just going through life saying, no, I can't. And Kev, I've heard you saying this often, but ask yourself, what if you could? What if, Rab, you're saying, you wouldn't have done any of these things, and it doesn't be a thinking about where we'd be now if we hadn't have made that, took that step onto the train.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be a thinking about it, because life, we've got, as I say, a circle of friends now. You've got the 5 guys, you can phone. It's Fit Ayrshire Dads has just been, as I say, life changing for me. And the memories I've got, getting up Ben Lomond as well. That's a story in itself. There was one day I woke up, I was desperate to get into the hill walk, and I thought I would do Conic Hill. I tried to get Morag to come with me, but she just wasn't moving out of bed. I thought, well, I'm going to do it. I actually drove up, and I drove past the car park is it Balmaha?
Aye.
I get past the car park. Sally Satnav said, didn't tell me to turn in, so I kept going, and I'm thinking I must be in the right road. So I kept going, and then eventually I sees the sign, no turning for 6 miles. I'm thinking, fucking hell, where am I going here? And eventually ended up in a car park away at the end of this road. And I seen all the walkers with their backpacks and all that going. I thought, well, I must be in the right. This is it. This must be Conic Hill. This must be me. So I parked the car and got out, and I started walking and seen the sign at the bottom of the hill, Ben Lomond. And I'm thinking, where am I? So I'm doing the shorts and trainers. And I thought, I'll give it a go. I'm sensible enough to know if I get so far and I can't, I'll just turn back. But I made it all the way, and I'm actually getting emotional thinking about this here, because I broke down at the top. I really broke down. So many things coming to my mind. My mum, who passed away 20 odd years ago, but just so many things came to my mind, and I was just so grateful for life. Just being up there. You talked about, climbing Goatfell and the yes at the Arctic Enema and all that. Getting up Ben Lomond that day, and I was on my own. I was a Fit Ayrshire Dad, by the way. I was in the group and all that, but I was on my own, and I'd done that through just all the motivation and inspiration to keep me going. Mm-hmm. And I went home that day just so proud of myself. And it wasn't long after that, you were at a run, Kev. I remember this video, because this was getting back to the bit I spoke about the pat in the back and the motivation. You were doing a video, and you were just saying about folk trying to get them to do a wee bit more. I remember you used the phrase, "I know, look, if you're happy with your lot, you're happy with your lot." We can't, no, I want to reach out to the guys that need to start making a change. And then you mentioned the fact there's a guy come onto the page. He's just his goal was he's grabbed life with the melons, man. He says, and he's getting involved in everything. He's out in the walking talks with Big Rob. He's doing this and doing. And you mentioned my name, and that was me. That was me, kind of hooked. I just for there and then it was 50 years your dad's all the way for me, and it's nothing's changed in that department. It's just 6 years. It's phenomenal. I'm still getting on the train.
Good.
I'm not getting off yet.
When you think back as well, Kevin, when everything that you done or everything that was organised for the charities, I mean, I was talking to David about this I think it was a couple of weeks ago. David and I were talking. I think it was when we were sort of setting up talking about the bench thing. I would like to know how much the fads have raised from the day we've started to the current day, because I know we've raised a lot of money for different charities. I mean, you think as well, the NHS, £5,000 we handed over, Kevin, and that was during COVID. I mean, the things that we done. I mean, your mop of hair that day, geez, oh man, people shaving their heads and people doing this, and the money that the fads have raised over the years has been nothing short of unbelievable. I mean, it's frightening. Sam H and all these different charities, Whitley's Retreat, the Kilt Walk, and it's just been fantastic. And I think just giving back, I don't think this is the thing as well. People don't see behind the scenes. People just see the page, but it's what we've done over the years and the charities that have benefited from it. It'd be nice to know how much has been raised over the years, because I know it's going to be it's well into the thousands of pounds, and I think that, and we continue to do that. I mean, with Stevie G, when Stevie passed, that's been a key thing in the calendar since Stevie passed, and every charity or the charities that get nominated, they're going to benefit from that, and that will continue to happen. But it'd be good to know how much we've raised over the years, Kev, as well.
I'm sure when the last time I had a bit of a deep dive into it, I think we were over £20,000 or something like that, for different causes. I just loved listening to the two of you there. I was going down the rabbit hole, really listening to you. You've opened up so many things in my own head. I mean, highlights, Tough Mudder, which you mentioned, was breaking the records of a group, any group that was ever taken. But mine's I'm probably going to go a different route with mine. Mine highlights would be the food bank drive we do every Christmas. We've donated must be somewhere about 50 ton of food items and toiletries and stuff like that, and to Ayrshire families, and we've done that at Christmas. That I remember. I remember standing in Castlepack Community Centre and when all the stuff was in the room, and I remember the woman saying, I don't know how we're going to be able to get this out of here to all these families, but this is going to change, so many lives, and I remember going, wow, this is incredible. Like, again, Robert said that there, people don't see this stuff that we do. Um, we've put local mental health groups and charities on the map. I got funding and I handed the funding straight over to these causes. Remember that, Robert? I got funding. Yep. We could have used the funding and just put on stuff for the men, and we paid it forward and we pushed it straight on and gave it to a couple of different causes. I also think it highlights Raymond McNally, Summit and Ben Lomond, just beat cancer. And then, wow. Like, we cleared a path for him, and he came through the group. You know, everybody struggled a lot going up the hill, and he came through, and boys read the room. Everybody knew what was going to happen, and he came marching through with the poles, and he summited first, and that was incredible.
Phenomenal.
But I think another highlight, and I'm absolutely going to cry here. Another highlight was how we met and carried on the legacy of Stephen Gilmer, which in essence is like I talk a lot about. I think you're going to meet a lot of good people, good men when you're part of Ayrshire Dads. You're going to come across a lot of really good guys. He was an incredibly good guy, an incredibly good example to so many of us. And the highlight, which was a low point, was when hundreds and hundreds of men came and lined the streets when the day of his service through Kilwinning. You know, and that just showed you what the community meant, what each other meant, what we felt about one another, how important it was, and that was an incredible time. It makes me think, like, you know, also the tough times that we've faced. Even this upsetting me now talking about that. You know, we were deep in challenges, and I'll never forget the Sunday that when just about to go live and just about to issue the next week's challenge, we were on a run of 6 challenges in a row or something like that. We were the group was in fire, everybody was thriving. I've got fucking roulette tables in my kitchen and fucking boards, chalkboards written up, and
the buy-in was tremendous. The
I
buy-in
was
to the
just
challenge.
firing out, and then my phone went, and it was Stephen's wife.
Oh, wow.
You know, to tell that he had passed, and I remember I come off the phone and I was thinking, how am I going to show up for these guys? And I remember talking to my wife about it. How am I going to do this? Like this, you know, like I'm right this second. Uh,
I remember the message,
and
Kevin. You said
I went on live, and I was like, I've fucking got this. I've got this. And then I was reminded why Fads is beautiful, because I didn't have it, and I fell apart, and it was like I'm on a live video and I can see all the wee faces. The fucking room was packed because everybody's on there for their challenge. And I never forget like saying, we're going to do this. You know, managed to get my shit together and sobbed all the way through it. And I says, we're going to do this for Stephen. Wow, it was unbelievable. And with hundreds of guys just, you know, driven to show up for this guy with this friend we'd lost, and the highlights were also the lowlights, and everything in between.
I remember the message when you're on the admin chat. Listen, I need to speak to you guys. And I remember the group chat was like, oh, what is it new, Kevin? And we didn't know, obviously. We didn't know that Big Steve had gone. And oh, what is it new? And she's like, I need to speak to you, it's important. And then I remember it, Stevie's gone. Stevie's passed away. We're like, what? What are you talking about? And I remember that, as you say, there's a lot of highlights, and I think that day.
Oh dear.
We learned a lot about ourselves, I think, during that period. I remember saying, and which is people talk about fittest dads. Do you need to be a dad? No, it's
Yeah.
driven by men. The fittest or dad thing was the idea was around how do you show up, how do you be a better dad, and how do you represent that role. And I've talked about this loads of times about you look for examples. It's a thing called modelling. I talk about it loads. You model yourself on men, and it's no comparison. It's different. It's modelling. You look at it and you go, do you know, I really like how that person shows up. I really like how what kind of husband they are, what kind of dad they are, kind of role model. And, Stephen is like many, many fads, like you boys and others. You look and you go, that guy's authentic. That guy's real. I like how what he's about, what he can. And
Yeah,
I remember when he passed, I said, if I can be half the man he was, then I'm doing all right. I'm on the right track. And I think that legacy is good to have that as a compass. I'm a I'm a I'm a am I trying my best.
yeah, 100%.
I'm going to
You could do
fall.
better.
I'm going to fuck up at times. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to say the wrong things. But coming back to that, right? Hold on. Am I trying my best? Yep. Or if the answer's no, right? Fix it.
What do you need to do?
What do I need to do?
Yeah, and the other thing as well, I think it was only fitting that Stevie got Fad of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that I was trapping up to the door, and I'll do it, lads. And I couldn't get. I think I get 4 words out, and I just burst into tears. And I'm thinking, you big bubbling wreck. But it was so fitting that he got it that year. And I remember Lorraine telling us the stories about the brown leather jacket, and when he had this jacket, and it was like something for the Starsky and Hutch days. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the memories that you'll always remember. And I think it was fitting he got it that year. But yeah, the big man, he's left a massive imprint. He's the day. We always use it. And yes, he's still to this day sadly missed.
Mhm.
But so many charities have benefited from the big man, and it will continue. I mean, this will be something that will always be on the calendar every year. Aye, you miss the big man, you know what I mean? Miss his stories,
But
miss his videos, you know what I mean? His videos in the morning, and he's out of breath, out of running, he's doing a video. Aye, and you think, the big man made such an imprint in everybody's life, it was brilliant. There's been a lot of highlights and there's been a lot of lows, but yeah. And again, it's always nice to look back in the memories, but also one of the highlights for me, Kevin, was your award for the Unsung Hero. I think it was key. I think we wanted to promote the page, and I think the page itself was put forward, and I just took it upon myself. You probably remember it. I was doing a live, and I says, right, we're going to go for this. We need to vote for it. Oh, by the way, we're going to go for the Unsung Hero Award for Kevin Brown. And I said, I need everybody to vote. And for me, the highlight that it was you getting that award. I think it was truly deserved. And one of the biggest highlights is your speech that night. When you stood on that stage, you made sure everybody that was in that room knew who we were and what it was so important for them to change it. And I remember I've still got the video and I remember it. And I remember when you won it, I was recording and I'm going, yeah, fucking dancer, yeah, yes. My wife's like to me, you're swearing in that video. I went, no wonder. He deserved it. And that speech that night, or you made sure that the people that are in that room, you are powerful people. It's you that need to help us change.
It was
My phone will always be on, and that's
that
the
was that
highlight
that
for
was
me.
that was a difficult one, that one, Robert, because we're in that room that night, a wee Facebook group, we're in that room, we're up against Chris Boyd, Charity, we're up
Aye.
against, Kevin Serenity, all the all the big hitters are in the room, and we're up there at the very back of the room. This wee Facebook group, that Ayrshire dads, and I told Billy Kirkwood, the West End,
Uh-huh.
I was chatting to him, and I said to him, I don't know if we'll win or no. I says, but if I do, you're going to know about it. And he went, what? And I went, I was already dialed. If if I get a shout here, I'm going to address this room. And he was like, oh. And I think Davey I shared the memory it just the other week, and Davey commented on it actually, because I don't know if Davey hadn't seen the actual video of it or listened to it clearly. So they tried to take the mic off me, and I went, no, 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 no.
No,
You're finished.
Step back, step the fuck back. I've not even started. And I was like, look at this room. And I'll be honest, it didn't make a difference anyway, because they didn't listen, because people are so trapped up in their own ego and their own image. I talked about the fact that I'd reached out to them all. I'd reached out to them all and to say, let's collaborate, let's work together, let's do blank, 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 blank. They weren't interested. And we were doing more than, as a Facebook group, we were doing more than the whole of the room was collectively.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We were doing more. We were saving more lives. And I think even, I think even where men have went missing, and fads have been out there, search parties, looking for these men when they've went missing. We've, intervened with people in crisis. So many other things. People have no idea. When something's went down in the community, for men have got a bad place, it's fittest or dads they contact.
Yep.
That's unbelievable that, because what they know they're going to get.
It wasn't so long ago, just maybe about 3 or 4 months ago there, Tom Kerr and I ended up at a boy's door through, and I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but it was big. We managed to get in touch with Big Jamie Addy, and we'd everything sorted out for the boy to help the boy. And unfortunately, it never panned out as it should, but I had the conversation with the boy. The boy was really, really struggling, really in a bad way. And he said to me, why do you care about me? And that really got to me, I'm thinking, wow, it's just, and it's a fit Ayrshire dad, because I'm a fit Ayrshire dad. That's the way that we've got each other's backs. This is what we do. And it just went on. It says, nobody cares about me. Why do you care about me? And I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? And Big Jamie was there for the boy. I've actually just last month there, I seen photos in the boy's Facebook page, and he's with his son and he's playing games and all that, and that really made me smile to see that. You know what I mean? It's just, I've heard your stories as well about getting phone calls at 2, 3 in the morning with guys and what have you. It's just,
well,
the
worst one was obviously,
you just didn't make it in time, is it?
I didn't make it.
Arrive
and people see. Well, that was in essence why I needed to take a break for it, which I didn't really talk about too much at the time. It was just, it was really the straw that sort of was just pushed it back, if you like. Getting that message in the morning, the boys, being in a party all night. He's drinking, he's taking drugs. I don't know all that. And he's sending me an image. He's on top of a bridge, and I was like, we're used to fads. We thought that we were. That was before we ended up doing all the signposting to the services and all that. But all that was all driven by that instant that I went, that'll never happen again. I'll never be, and none of my guys will ever be exposed to that level again. We will have services, we will signpost, we will have everything available. And because when I arrived there, I was too late. It was already, he survived. And again, David, he's thriving now. And I watched that, and that boy, and I can see that was a period of his life that he took a decision there that he could be missing out. And, I see him with his kids now and all that. And I think, wow, that all of that could have been gone because his sort of lifestyle choices he was making and stuff like that. But
So
for him
one
to
crazy
be,
decision.
for him to be that desperate that in that moment that he was just so lost and so out of control that he thought that that was the way to go. Which so that then led to I was like, we don't have services, we don't have signposts, we don't have this, we don't have the things in place, and then we started to make sure we get everything, which has continued to evolve. Um,
Absolutely.
but I
It's
mean,
actually it's good to talk about this stuff and all because it's emphasising the point that Rab spoke about earlier. We're not just a running page. You'd be
no.
excused for thinking that, going onto the page and scrolling through and it's all you're seeing. But this is the other side. This is the side I know that some of the fads don't see for the admin. What
Hmm.
the admin actually are getting. And again, it's all this is all it's all voluntary. Everything that we do, you know what I mean? It's just
But
it
Dave, you
can be
see
tough.
that? Yeah, I think that's a great point what you've mentioned a couple of times about the running thing. The reason it appears like it's predominantly a running group is because it's only the fucking runners that'll post up stuff.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. So see if you're a walker, you come onto the page and say, I'm going to be going, I like to go long walks. Does MD fancy joining us? If you're a hill walker, come on and tell us, share us the Monroes you've been getting up at the weekend. Tell us about your next plan. If it's an open invite for the boys to join, tell us. If you're a cyclist, I mean, I remember way back at the beginning, and I mobilised the cyclists, they post, and then it just dwindled away. And I spoke to one and says, oh, it's just runs you see on the page because the runners are posting and
That's it.
the runners are a more motivated group
Uh-huh.
who that so that's why you see more of it. But you're right. There's so many more buckets to it. There's the mental health support. There's the community work support. We've done community gardens. Another highlight. We went at Christmas round the nursing homes. That no, aye, nursing homes and end of life. We went to the end of life ward, and I was doing fucking magic tricks in the old folks' rooms and all that. We had somebody dressed as Santa. You know, why did we do that? We did that because we went to make older people smile and laugh, people who
Mhm.
didn't have visitors, people in
That's
nursing
priceless.
homes that were all. We did that. Tell me another group that was just out there doing that. You
Aye.
know, we
I
did.
know for no for recognition.
Well, no, we just because it was a good thing to do. It was we were doing the food banks, we were doing the community work, we're helping the young,
Charities.
well, the charities, the old, another hill walking day. And what was his name? Thing we Beatty. He was about 70-year-old, and we got up to the cobbler, and
Yeah.
I goes up and threads a needle, and a couple of boys did, and then a couple were like, no way. And I'm coming back down, and he went, I'm going up to do that, and I went, oh fuck no, you're no. And he says, no, he says, I'm doing that. And I went, no, man, no. And he went, I need to do that. And he's like, he put his hands on my shoulders and he went, Kevin, I'll not get to do this again. He
Oh
says,
wow.
I need to do that. Take me up. And I looked him in the eyes and I went, do not fucking fall. And he came up behind me and I helped him. We got him up and we sat. There's a picture. Um, we sat on the edge and he put his arm around us and it's Ryan Beattie's dad. I can't remember the boy's thing with Beattie. He put his arm around and he went, this is incredible. He says, see what you've done here with us. He says, you've just made he says, this I can't tell you what this means to me to be able to come up here at my age with you boys and do something like this. He says, I feel like I'm living again. And I'm like,
Aye.
and it's
Tremendous.
fucking full of things like that.
The thing is, as well, you remember their first awards night at the GSK? It was just you being you, right? You keep the things. I've always said that to Kevin. Keeps a lot of things to himself, and then he just he explodes. I mean, what a night to reward the guy. I mean, everybody's a winner. I've always said it in the Fads page that everybody's a winner, and we have to pick somebody that's really sort of changed their own lives and been part of it. But when the Pipers turned up, drop the pin moment. I mean, I looked at Derek.
Incredible.
I looked at Derek scared. I was sitting with Derek and Lynn, and I looked at Claire and I looked at Derek, and Derek went, tears, man, were just flowing down our faces. It was unbelievable. There was just these Pipers coming in, and then there was, and then because you were so, I always have a laugh about this when I think about it. You're so meticulous when it comes. Your videos are so hard hitting, but when you're doing your speech, you lap your paper. What page am I on now? Right, hold on a minute. He's a minute here, and I'm like, that's no your Kevin. That's no him. He's organised, and I thought, and he's looking at this, and he went, right, what a night! I mean, the GSK Awards night was just phenomenal. It was brilliant to see all the faces. That was a great highlight, a great memory. And then we talked about it. You and I, we spoke about it. She's like, we need to make this bigger. I was looking at Irvine Rugby Club to take it to the next level. And then
I went and get the Park Hotel.
I spoke to the Gales Hotel, and the Gales wanted this ahead, or we need to have that. And I'm like, right, wait a minute here. We're a page that we don't pay any membership. This is you've heard of the first of Dad? Oh, yeah. Right, this is not going to work. Spoke to the Park Hotel, and they're like, we're not going to charge you.
Yeah.
How many names, how many bodies, and we just took it to a different level. That's when it went, boom, here we are. And it was a complete sellout, and it was a phenomenal night. And again, we just took it to that big Tony Bryden doing the videos for us. And that was your part night. And that's a memory that I'll always remember as well. I say that in the speech. I think we spoke about it. I said, where do we get Kevin? Where do we get Kevin? Can he get him new trainers? Because I think Danny would obviously kick me in the nuts if I got my new set of Hawkers or something to get him a watch. I know you like to watch what your brother got. I said, we can't get him that, because then Scott would think Kevin wants a better meet in it. And I reached out to a lot of people when I thought, right, I just need 30 seconds up to a minute of what you think of Kevin Brown. And I thought that would be the nice part, just a parting gift to you, what people thought of you. I mean, Jamie Burns, I don't know if I spoke to Jamie Burns and John Bell. Their first videos were 3.5 minutes long. I'm like, you can't do that, because Jamie messaged me and went, Rob, what can you say about Kevin in a minute? I went, I don't care. Just put down what you think. And GB, you know what John Bell's like, he would talk like he was a donkey. Yeah. And I just thought, this is his parting gift. This is what people think of you. And I thought it was key as well to get Lewis involved and get your grandson there and Tilly and Danny. And I just thought, yeah. And when it happened, I looked to you. I don't know if you remember looking at you, and I could just see the tears in your eyes. I thought, aye, that's it.
That was a gift.
Drop the mic. See you later. Done. So that's, again, the highlights. And I think it'd be good to try and go back to another awards night if we can organise that. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Just again to recognise people's where they've came on. And I think it's also important. I think Fad of the Year, continue to keep doing that. People that's changed. You
know, on that note with Fad of the Year, I remember I was fortunate enough to actually take the title off Stevie G, which was just a total absolute privilege. But I cannot believe that the penny never dropped with me that morning, going up to the early birds. I was going up the station Bray to Drecon Cross, and I heard all the hubbub. And I'm thinking, it sounds busy up there. And when I got up, there was about 20 odd folk, and never had a turnout like that. And I'm thinking, brilliant. And I had seen that morning that Kev Brown had going to my early birds as well. And I'm like, wow, this is brilliant. And we're running round, and Kev wasn't there. And I'm running along the Springside cycle track, thinking I'm going to get him to get a letter for his mom, that way he's not here. We're joking about it. And then we got up, and I'm taking the picture, and I didn't realise Kev was jumping about behind me like a milk tray man, trying to cross the road. He nearly got knocked down with an ambulance.
Me, Kevin, were sitting in the car. I think I picked you up, Kevin. I think I picked you up, Kevin, and we were in the car park, and it was like stealth mode, lights off, watching for everything. And then I think John Bell walked by. There's Kevin and Big Rat, buddy. Shut the fuck up. You need to keep quiet.
I'm
And it was
standing
like
taking the
cell
photo,
phone.
I know, they're like, take another photo, take another photo. I'm like, the fuck's going on here? So I'm going out to take another photo. I turned around and I seen you and Levi walking towards me, and I'm like, oh, there's Rav and Levi coming up. I still never click, and I'm like, what is going on? And then next thing I turned and there's Kev right there, I went, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. That was an emotional moment, a brilliant moment. That's that trophy takes pride of place in my living room, and it will do for a long
No,
time
the
to come.
award,
So proud of it.
people getting recognised has been magical because, um, and you can, as Rab says, everybody could get it. Everybody could win the different, things, but it's just it's getting men, maybe men that have been juggling a lot and coming, really fighting hard or they've done unbelievable things, whatever it is. But we've recognised a lot of men over the time, and it's been fantastic. And I think that I guess that's an important note about the thing about me stepping down. The reality was the biggest motivator in me stepping down was so that the page could have a stronger identity as a page as opposed to as a person. Because fads will be around forever. It'll be around forever, and there's nothing better than being part of a healthy community that the guys are looking out for each other, and we haven't spoke we haven't spoke hunters about the actual sports side of it. Men have done on their journeys have done unbelievable things. I've went from projectile vomit in a park run to in August doing a 220-mile race. But that sounds fantastic. But equally, guys have went for near-death experiences to walking hills, turning the life around, reversing diabetes and heart conditions and all sorts of stuff. The stories are unbelievable of men and progressing. And I remember, God, we always used to talk about this. Boys would come onto fads, they'd start their journey, they'd progress really well, and then they'd leave, because and I remember going, oh, fucking that's shite. But no, it's brilliant because that's
Oh,
what's there.
absolutely.
And as Robert says, they've stepped off the train and at some point they'll jump back in,
No problem.
and it's happened many times. But what's really good about it is like with the example I'm giving, a guy, he's really lost, he's really overweight, he's really unhealthy, he's no things aren't going well, he's drinking drugs, whatever the hell it is. He jumps into fads, he makes some good connections, he starts getting fit, he then maybe joins a particular gym or club or something. Then he gets into their community and he's standing on his own feet, he's getting bigger, he's getting stronger, healthier, happier. And then he doesn't need that. He doesn't need fads for now, and that's good. That's okay. He now feels I've got it, guys. Thanks very much. I can take it for here, but I know where you are if I need you, and that's what's
Yeah,
important. I know where you
Brilliant.
are if I need you. You know, like
Sure.
we went along to, which we'll go into in a second. Like we went along to the walk and talk thing that I had just fired in because I wasn't doing my run, and there's a boy there that I've not seen for a while. He's sitting on the bench again, and we just starts chewing the fat, and he's not been on the page as much, but now he's going through a difficult period in his life. He needs it. He needs the community, and he knows
Will
that
do.
the community will no judge him. The community will know there's no where the fuck have you been? There's none of that. It's how you doing? What do you need?
yeah. Do you know, I think you mentioned earlier on with the community that we've got. I remember if if something needs done, look, guys, the community gardens, we need bodies to come in and help with the community gardens. I remember the one, it's a great memory as well, when Des Harkin's wife was building or converting that dance studio just off of Scott's place.
Yep, yep.
And I think you'd put the post up, look, Big Des needs a hand, guys. He's got this huge building. He needs anybody that can labour and turning up. And I remember Big Stevie was there as well. Myself, Jamie Addy, John Bell. Right, guys, look, I says, what tools do you need? I can bring this, I can bring that. And I remember, oh, fucking dang, you laugh about it. Right, give John Bell the saw. No, don't go give John Bell the saw. The lines won't be fucking straight if John Bell's in the saw. And we were just, the togetherness. You know, somebody puts out a shout for help, we're on it. We're there as a group. We're getting this done. And I remember Des, I think Keith thought that he bought all the. Was it Keith? I think it was Keith that bought all the pizzas for everybody at the end up. And we laid flooring. We get the plasters up. We get painted walls. And we built these rooms. And it was in Dez's face. You could see when we turned up the first time, Des is like, this is what I've got to do. And we just get stuck in about it. And I've still got the picture of sitting in the scaffe with Stevie there, myself at the top, Andy Chalmers, GB, Jamie, and it was just the togetherness. Mm-hmm. If somebody put a post up, guys, I'm doing something, I need a help, or I need this, I need that, boom, we were on it. And we turned up numbers and we absolutely annihilated it. But the laughs that you have as well, you know, GB on a saw, geez, oh, don't give him a saw for crying out loud. Do you know what I mean? Give him the drill, that'll be even better, because that'll vibrate as much as he does, type thing. So, but that's what I love about the page, the community. We come together. Somebody's struggling, whether like a moving house, anybody got a van, boom, there you go.
Yep.
It was like the bench. I mean, we needed the bench to go from one of the admin's house to the park. Look, guys, I need a man with a van. Dean Anderson, boom, I'll date the new Robert, where are you? And communicated with Davey, and before we knew it, the bench was there within an hour. That's what the page is all about, the power.
Just before we start talking about the bench, and I want to touch on, Kev, what you were talking about, the differences we've made in folks' lives. See, when you look at the before and after photos that were posted, mine, we've done one of the posts about that, and you got folk to post their before and afters, or then and now. And there's a couple of junk. I mean, Big Rob Barnes, he couldn't walk without sticks at one point. Now he's out running at the time. And obviously one of my wee favourite just now, wee Paul Norton, he's different class. He's been great with me. But his before and after photos is just, even your ends, Kevin, when you put a photo up, Kevin, not that long ago, when 2 years going by, and you did take a wee step back thinking, holy chook, you know what I mean? Yep. But you actually see the differences. But one story that I really do want to touch on is one of the guys, one of the fads' dads, that reached out to me, said my son needs help. Yep. Basically, it was at a stage that he felt the boy was at a stage in his life where he was going the wrong way, did a really bad circle of friends, and just going in the wrong direction, and he could actually see the way the boy was heading, and he wasn't too enamored. The boy had broke down and opened up to his dad, and I actually said to his dad, I says, look, I can't help. I says, it needs to be him that comes to me. I says, I can't force anybody to do this. And next thing I got a message for the boy, and I'm just need to see, because I'm talking about wee Robbie Simpson. The guy is just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. He turned up to meet me that morning. He said to me he was a wee bit anxious of crowds and all that, so I arranged to meet him on his own before we ran up to the hill, the top of the hill, where there would be a wee crowd waiting for the early birds. And there he was. He turned up that morning, and we ran up, and he wasn't sure he was going to get a 5K. He was very, very kind of nervous. And next thing, by the end of the run, there was another guy there. Who was his first time and all. And by the end of the run, Robbie was swapping phone numbers with this guy. Mm-hmm. And then the next run he was there, the next run, and then next thing, this guy that wasn't confident in the 5K was more or less finishing before I'd started the run. He was taking it on, he just loved the run and he got it. And then eventually I spoke to you, Kev, about him. I said, Kev, I said, you're going to have to help me here. I can't do anything for this guy. He's up at that level where he needs to be. He needs something different, and it's just his story is just unbelievable. So proud of that boy and everything. He's kept going. He's never got off the train, Rob. You know what I mean? He's just kept progressing and getting better and better. And that's just so proud of the guy. You know what I mean? And so proud to have been able to offer.
What's good about that story, but Davey, is he was one of the younger guys that we got.
Very much,
and I think, you know, I hope this does reach younger guys and all, and know that the earlier you do something about your life, the better. You know, like
100%.
We're talking about we've sort of made changes and stuff as we've got older. But see if you can do it early. You can live a fantastic life. Robbie that we're talking about, he's went on to do sky races, high rocks. He's very close to being accepted to become a fireman. He's been through all the process. He's had his interview. He's doing fantastic. That is a big part of that. It's your environment. Who you are. Who you spend your time with, you are the people that you're surrounding yourself with, you know, and I know for a fact he would not be doing what he's doing or becoming what he's becoming if he hadn't, reached out to the fads community and started that journey. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of examples of that, of all
Oh,
sorts
that's
of different ages of men, um, that have just, just
That's what's so good about the community, Kev. That's what I've said about the no egos. It's not just that. It's as soon as you're old enough to go on Facebook and then there's that 70-year-old guy threading the needle. You know what I mean? It's just it's so, again, Rab, unique. It's a fantastic platform. And but the
I think
difference is we can't do it for you. You've got to take that first step. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
We can't take you by the horn kind of thing. You've got
yeah, I
to be the
think as
one to
well,
do it.
Robbie's story, I think that's had a huge impact on his dad. Look at the before and after pictures of Robbie's dad. Holy
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
moly. Do you know what I mean?
He's
What?
inspiring his dad. He's inspiring his dad.
Yeah, his
And
dad's
his
reached out
brothers
to
as
help
well. It's not,
his dad's reached out for somebody to help his son, and now his son's getting the help that he needs. And Robbie's, I mean, his progress has just been on. I mean, it's inspiring to watch the boy do what he's doing, but that impact has affected his dad. And when his dad put the post up a couple of weeks ago, the before picture and the after picture, you think, that's phenomenal. I mean, that's great to see that the son and father have impacted their lives together.
because you know the story behind it as well.
Of course,
Looking at
do,
that
right?
photo, you're thinking, wow, wow.
Aye,
Aye.
different
Talk,
class.
talk to us about the talking bench.
Um,
Oh, Rab's baby.
it's something that I've thought about for a long time, and we've spoke about it before, Kevin. You've highlighted how many people have took their own lives. Eglin Park, as you said as well, was one of these places that people would go to. I lost my nephew there. He committed suicide there. And I came up with this idea and I thought, there's nothing like that out there. A bench where people can sit and reflect. If they need somebody to reach out, they can sit on the bench. If somebody's walking by, they see them sitting on the bench. And I pitched the idea to Davey, and Davey being Davey was like, let's do this, let's go on it. And Davey obviously spoke to the men's shed. The men's shed greatly appreciated, dominated the bench for us. And I always knew behind the scenes from previous things, it's thinking about something and doing it is the easy part. It's getting over the finishing line. I thought, how many hurdles am I going to be coming across to try and do this? And when I initially, my first thought was number one thought was I wanted the Eggy Park. Simply because a lot of the fad journeys started at Eggy Park with the walk talks, county 5Ks. I thought it'd be good to have it at the park. And I did when I reached out originally. I don't think the person I spoke to, no disrespect to them, never really grasped what I wanted. They were talking, it's a memorial bench. No, it's not a memorial bench. It's just a bench that people can sit on and talk. Right, okay, let's look at it. That's a great idea. Yeah, we've heard of, and when she said this to me, I knew that she hadn't tuned in on it. Oh yeah, we've heard of Ayrshire Fit Dads. And I'm like, right, okay. And then I get the email back saying, look, if you want to buy a bench from us, and I thought, right, I need to look at a different avenue. And I remember Scott Davidson when I was at the circuits. I knew that he was a councillor at Kilwinning, so I reached out to Scott. I spoke to Scott on the phone. I says, look, this is my idea. And he just went, Rob, that's a fantastic idea. Leave it with me. And then within 24 hours, I got an email from Amanda Downey, who was one of the head rangers at Eglin Park, saying, look, can we have a meeting? I want to discuss what I want to talk about. And I says, well, unfortunately, I'm working away from home a lot. And I thought, do you know what? Fuck it. Picked up the phone, gave her a phone, and I just basically told her exactly what my thoughts are. And she's like, yeah, we're doing this. She was so on the same page as me. And then she says, yeah, all I need from you is a picture of the bench, the sizes of it. And then I just thought, right, now I know we're in. Now I know we've got this. Sent her the bench, sent her the dimensions, and a week went by. And I says to Davey, oh, that's going to happen here. And I messaged her and I emailed her. I says, look, I know it's been a week. She went, Robert, I'm really busy. Bench is fine. When can you come over? I had the long weekend off. And then me and David went over and spoke to her. And she says, right, I'm going to show you a couple of places. I wanted it as close to the hub as possible. And I said this to Davey, I didn't want it out in the park. I says, because I think it would be exposed to getting damaged or set alight with And when she told us, right, I've got a few, she said she had 3 places for it. And the first place she showed us, one hands down, right across from the monument. And I just looked at Davey, and Davey looked at me and went, yeah, this is the one. This is it. Right, I'll do the other one. Not going to make a difference. And then we got the bench. We brought it over. We secured it to the ground. And we got the plaque made, the QR code. I know you and I spoke, Kevin, that day at Costco. I sort of pitched the idea to you. And I know you've been trying your hardest to try and get these resources put on a park somewhere where it's in a poster. And that was one of the key things for me, was a QR code. I know originally we talked about the QR code to link to the Ayrshire Dads. And I thought, if we put the name on the back, if we put the name in the plaque, people know who it is. The QR code is going to be taken straight to the resource page. You can touch the phone numbers and stuff, and it's there. It's secured. The plaque's on it. I've reached out to one of the rangers at Rozelle Park. I want to put 3 benches in Ayrshire, north, south, and east. North's done. Tick, massive tick. The bench is being used. Kevin, you've given us an example. I see Dean was the other day as well. Took a photograph of it, him at the park, and he's reflecting on his life. So I know it's worked. And I think for me, when I spoke to Amanda Downey, I says if it changes one person's life, it's a success. And I did explain to her, I says, when we do this, the social media side of it, we will make sure it's plastered everywhere. And it did do it. Dawson Salcoat, Irvine Times, Davies reached out to STV. Obviously, STV are now going to get involved. So they do STV News, want to do a spiel on it. I've got a radio, a guy he's got a live radio channel. He wants to do a 1-to-1 with me as well on that. And we're just going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think when we spoke about it, Kev, the trifecta, which is a massive part of the Ayrshire Dads. If we can have a bench at each park, there's a trifecta. And I know Kev's come up with an idea. Once we get everything in place, we'll either do a run from one park to another park to another park, and people can join us at different parks. But the whole idea of it was there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that in Ayrshire. And I wanted a bench to be put in place for people that can go and sit there and, you know what I mean, just if they've had a bad day at work, go and sit on the bench, just reflect on life. And if it helps one individual, then I know it's a success. So I'm so happy that we've got the first one in place. And it's, Dale Boy and Trotter have done the jobs. So we're all right.
That story is just brilliant. Because I remember you pitching the idea to me, and me, like, again, hook, line and sinker, thinking, wow. And as you say, it's so simple, because it's just a bench. At the end of the day, it is just a bench. The key for us now is to educate everybody to know that if you see somebody sitting on that bench, then say hello, check in, just ask them if they're okay. Okay, the bench is there for people to sit on and are just, reflect, or if they feel the need to talk to somebody, but also we need to educate people to know that if they do see somebody sitting on that. But the beauty of the QR code is, even if you're alone, there's still somebody to talk to. You just click on that. But going back to the meeting, I'm going to get to this because it was funny. Amanda showed us that where the monument had just been put there that day. They had just put the heads back on it. That monument sat in the middle of the park for about 40 years, with headless, with the boy and the boy with the thorn in his foot.
Yep.
And they had just got a stonemason to put the heads back on, and they'd placed it, but they'd moved it just to where it is now, and it's under CCTV. And she showed us that, first of all, that position for the bench. And me and you are like that, looking at each other, thinking, that's a winner, that's a talking point straight away, straight across for that statue that's got such a history behind it. This is crazy. And then she took us to other, and don't get me wrong, the other areas she showed us were great. And our original thought, the areas would have probably been suffice, but because she'd already showed us that, and we went into, she took us into the offices after that. Rob had some paperwork and all that they had to discuss and get that, just to get things finally over the line. But we left that office that afternoon, and I turned around and says to Rob, I says, Rob, I don't know about you. I says, but I feel like Del Boy and Rodney walking out of Sotheby's here. Will you go first or will I? It's just, we'd done it. We'd finally done it, and the bench was happening. It was there, and it was getting placed. And Aye, it's just such a simple concept. You've heard it in primary schools, the buddy bench, that they've had it for a while, where a kid is told if they've needed to play with to sit on the bench, no the other kids are educated to know to involve that kid if they're sitting on that bench. This is just something similar for us, but it's not obviously just for the talking side of things, for getting things off your chest, or just for even just for sitting reflecting. You know what I mean? It's just, as I say, it's simply just a bench, but there's a huge meaning behind it. And I think it's a fantastic idea. And as you say, Ralph, see if it helps one person, it's a winner.
Yeah, I think for me, Scott Davidson was a huge key part of it. The men's shed again, phenomenal. But Amanda Downey, she when I'm so passionate when you get that bee in your bonnet when you start talking about the first dads and what it means to, and I did say that to him. This is not a first dads solely for them. This is an Ayrshire thing. This is something we have to have in Ayrshire because of there's been too many suicides. People have taken their own lives, and as Kev says, a lot of people the sad thing is the final destination could be Eglinton Park, and if that bench is there, when I made the phone call at the end of the call, I went, right, can I just reflect on it? You are 100% behind us. She went, 100%, Robert. We will get this done. And at that point, I just knew, right, this is now going to happen. And again, the bench. She saw the bench, the photographs, and yeah, I'm chuffed it's there. So we've got another 2 parks to go. Roselle Park, they wanted to know what it was, and I explained to them what it was. And I said to look, phone or contact Amanda Downey. She will tell you what this means, not just to the community, but to everyone within Ayrshire. My ambition is to have the 3 in the parks. Do we get more? Listen, let's focus on the 3 first. The first one's done. Tick, big tick. The signs on it, the plaques on it, the QR codes on it, or
It's completely trifecta.
The QI code. Kevin's actually with the phone that time. She's rabbits. See when you were doing your, it's fucking QR. It's QR. QR. And I'm like, all right.
There's 2 things that I want to talk about with this. Well, first of all, I was talking to my wife about this, and I was telling her, because obviously I was watching as you boys were putting this together, and I'm saying to my wife, I am so proud of these guys. I says, it's almost like how do I describe it? It's almost like we've inspired each other to become better leaders and better men on this subject. And I am proud for the small part I've played in influencing you boys as you have influenced me and all the bits in between. And when I was watching this come together, because you're right, Robert, I've been involved in 3 search parties for men in Eglinton Park, and none of them ended well. I know about your history, your personal history with suicide, and yeah, the parks are where people will go to end their life. Let's just no skip round about the subject of the matter. So I spoke with you a while back, Robert, and I've been trying without any success to get these signs made, these big signs that would have all the signposting and all that. And then you guys had been working on this bench, and I was like, see when I saw this come to life, I just sort of took a big deep breath and I was smiling ear to ear and I'm going, that's my boys. That's my boys right there. They've delivered something much better than I had even thought about it in my head, because it's so much more subtle. And like when I went down, I sat on the bench and I wanted to feel it. And I've been at the bench a couple of times since then on my own, nobody there, and I've just sat there, and I'm looking at the QR code, I'm looking at the wee plaque and stuff, and I'm just feeling round about me. And I think I said this on the Fads post. You don't need to go there to need to talk. You can just go there because you know that the bench has been put there through a place of love. It's been put there
Yep.
for really good intentions. You can, like you mentioned, Dean's been there the day and he's been reflecting. That it's such a really good thing. But the most important thing that I need to say is like if you go to that park and you're in crisis and God willing you find that bench,
Yeah.
that might just save your life. And that's the extreme version of the story, but
It's the reality.
that's the crisis. That's where we are right now.
Yep.
That bench could save someone's life. Those benches could save somebody's life. And we will absolutely, I saw Davies going, oh, for fuck's sake, we will absolutely be doing a trifecta journey between those benches and we'll involve all the mental health charities that we've lifted up over the years.
Brilliant.
The whole communities out at those locations. We'll have a big meet to start at the first bench. And then we'll go to each bench and we'll have, food and stuff at each one. We'll have a break and then we'll head to the next one and we'll make it a huge thing. But we'll do that because you boys delivered. You boys delivered and you've kept that fads ethos and mentality that we do what we say we will do. We deliver.
And again, it's not for recognition either.
No.
It's not.
Oh,
It's
of course not.
No.
it's just the pride you get, the pleasure you get of knowing that you potentially could just be saving that one guy's life, or that. It just, as Rob says, it doesn't need to be a guy. Now the benches are there for everybody. Although it's for Ayrshire dads that have
Yep.
come up with the concept and put the bench there, they are there for absolutely anyone to use for anything. And the pride in that is, again, when Rob pitched the idea to me, I still remember this day how I felt, and I still feel that way. I just think it's a phenomenal idea. It's so simple. How there's nothing else out there like that. There's nothing like that kind of already been done. I don't know, but it's just fantastic.
When you said earlier on, Davey, there's benches and parks everywhere throughout the UK. There's benches along the coastal roads, along the Ross and Harbour. There's benches. They've got benches. They've got plaques on it. And I think it's important. It's okay putting a bench of where it is, but it's hugely important to let people know where the bench is and what the bench does. And I think Kevin as well, putting a walk and talk, and I'm so grateful that he done it. And I'm Kevin and we've known each other a long time. Kevin, I know I can rely on Kevin's input, and I respect his opinion. Vice versa, he respects my opinion. I think when he put the post up, I'm going to be at the bench, and I think we talked about that. I think we used that key word. We'll get you at the bench. People know what that is. People know where that bench is going to be, and I think that was the biggest part for us is where the bench is and where it's situated, and that's hugely important. And I think when Kevin put up the walk and talk, I thought, brilliant. This is reiterating where it's going to be, and that password or that key word is I'm going to be at the bench. If somebody messages me and says, "Look, I'm going to be at the bench at 6 o'clock. Can you meet me?" I know where that is. I know where that bench is. That bench is going to be there for a long, long time. I know that it's your responsibility if anything happens to that bench. I'm not got an issue with that. We will sort it. We know what it's doing. But I want 3 benches in place throughout Ayrshire. And I remember the phone call last week. Davey was talking about doing this. And what about doing that? What about that for the top bench? I went, whoa, let's settle down a bit. We've agreed that on principle, the thing that we spoke about, that's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. But then Davey pitched an idea about having wee lapel badges, just a bench on a lapel badge, having your Fire for Dad's t-shirt, your bin. And I thought, you know what? And it started to make me think about the charities that we do, the money that we raise for the charities and stuff. And I thought this could turn into something that could be big as well. And I spoke to Jamie Addy about it. And Jamie Addy's he's dealing with something for me behind the scenes. But I pitched it to Davey and I thought, we could have lapel badges. And I want to make it quite clear is if we do go ahead with this, if you buy the badge, it's going to mean two things. One is you know what the bench is and you know what it means, but the money that we raise, if we go ahead with it, the money that we will raise, we will put that to a nominated charity. We will make nothing out of this. This is nothing about recognition. This is about giving
It's
back
actually
to the
pretty
community.
badge.
This is about giving back to the community that we've done so many times throughout the years. And if we get 200 badges and we sell them for whatever value we sell them for, every bit of money that we raise for that will definitely go back to a charity. Be it any of the resources that we're using, they will get that impact. Again, that's something down the line, because I think I messaged Davey. I think my words to Davey were, "You're a prick." Because
By the way,
aye, you're a prick, and you've got me thinking about this bench. And he says to me when he read the message, all I read was, "You're a prick." I'm thinking, oh, what have I done now? What have I done? So there's so many things we can do, but I just wanted to simplify it, get the bench in place, get the plaque on it, the QR code, and let's sort of make it as subtle as possible, but make sure that everybody knows where that bench is. And if they can use it, perfect.
the lapel badge idea was, I don't know how it came to me, but you've seen them with the prostate cancer one and all that. You see a lot of folk wearing them. This, again, it's no, the bench isn't going to advertise any charity or anything like that. It's simply going to be, if you're wearing that badge and somebody notices that, they know they can talk to you. They know that you're a listener, or you know about the bench, you know the concept behind things like that. So you see anybody wearing a bench, you know they're approachable. We were brought up to help know to speak to strangers. I think we should turn that in its head when we get a wee bit older. It's good to speak to strangers. You know what I mean? Because that connection might be the only connection that guy gets the whole day, the whole week, whatever. If you're just saying hello, you know what I mean? It could make all the difference. So the idea behind the lapel badges was to let people know, like, talk to me. I'll listen.
Yeah,
love it.
No, it's good. It's in place. I'm glad it's there, and yeah, I'm glad, as I say, Kevin, you're doing a walk and talk, which I think is brilliant as well. Sadly, I'm not home. About the first time that I'm going to be home, and it's going to be a Wednesday. If I'm closer to home, I'll be there. I'll be there. I've not been there since we've put it there, but it's just I've been with pride that I see yourself and Dean being there, and I know Jamie's been over there, and I think it's just brilliant that it's there. But no, my dream is to have the three in place. I did say to Davey, and he laughed. I said I'd like to have the three in place by Christmas, because I know Christmas can be a tough time for a lot of people. And as far as the benches are concerned, I don't have an issue with the benches. For me, a key factor making it to the broad public when an engineer on our job up here, as you know, I work for Amco Giffen. She says, "What's this thing about the bench?" And I showed her the article that was in the newspaper, Irving Times, and she went, "Robert, do you mind if I use that on the Amco site?" I says, "Because we've had an email from their head office, because it was World Mental Health Day. They're looking for something that can be promoted." And I went, "Absolutely." I says, "Please do." And then when I saw the article on the see, the thing is with what they do is they put it out, they email everybody this flyer, and it goes to basically the top brass at Amco Giffen. And for me, it's reaching out to the wider community. And then this is going all over. This is going to be UK. That we get a newsletter every quarter. Every member of staff at Amco Giffen, and we're talking thousands of people, they're going to get this. And that article is going to be in there. And it was huge for me to see that. And I was proud. I was really proud as Punch to see that Amco Giffen. So when it comes to benches and getting the plaques made up, and I know there's a cost behind these things, I know for a fact that won't be an issue. I will get either the men's shed to make us another two benches, and I'll get the plaques all done. That isn't going to be, that's never been a blip in my head to say, right, how are we going to get these? That's never going to be an issue. My dream.
The wee lapel badge, the idea takes up, and there's money for that. You'll not be out of pocket as such as, and it's just it'll be fine.
No, it'll be good.
It's going to work.
I'm glad.
It's happening.
That's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. We've been chatting for got some 2 hours there. All things fads, which has been magic. We could probably do that all day, but the reality is we need to go and move our Sunday. No, I think this has been brilliant. It's actually been good to reflect back on it. It's been good to think about happy times, emotional times, and everything in between. Some of the stuff that we've talked about, some of the stuff that we've done, and I think just celebrate this brilliant wee group that we've made in Fit Ayrshire Dads, and it'll go from strength to strength. It'll continue to benefit loads of men whenever they need it or whenever they don't need it, at all times. Um, I'll for people who've been listening, watching, whatever it is, I will put in the Fit Ayrshire Dad's link in the show notes for you to find the page. But I hope this is, if you're a guy listening to this and you're thinking that sounds like a really, really good group, a really good place to be in, then, get in there and get it joined and play your part. But maybe you're a woman. I know I've got an awful lot of female listeners that listen for the topics that I talk about in my podcast. Maybe you've got a man in your life that you want to tell them about Fit Ayrshire Dads. Maybe you want them to, you've been a wee bit worried about them recently and they don't really know where to turn to and stuff. Well, Fit Ayrshire Dads is maybe just the group of men that they've been looking for. So, let them hear this podcast and deliberately drop it into their chat, so that they can listen to it and maybe you never know, it could change or save their life. But boys, it's been good.
Remember,
It really has.
the train's free. You can jump on the train at any point.
Doors are
Just go on
open.
that train.
Something we never spoke about, like highlight. I know it was a Sunday check-in we have in Fads, which is a great thing for people just to open up and say exactly what how they're feeling. That's the Sunday check-in's a great thing. So it ended its own Fads. We start using that. That's the catalyst. That's what we're all about.
Sunday check-ins, fantastic. It's again another wee, as Robert talks about, another Kev brainwave that come out one day, and I went, this could be good, and I love it. And I did mine's earlier actually, just before I come onto this podcast, and then I tagged in another group of folk. So, Mr. Telford, you better done yours.
I'm just doing it now.
I'll go into mine in a minute. Here's me promoting it. I've not done mine either yet. But
no, listen, genuinely, boys, thank you for this. Thanks for coming on and helping me share this message. It's been fantastic.
Thanks for the invite, Kev. Appreciate it, mate. Good to talk.
I thoroughly enjoyed talking about it again. So proud to be a Fad. I want to put a big shout out to the current admin that are keeping the page going just now. I know Kevin Usher, Scott Morrison, and Kevin Mason, and Keith Mason, sorry, and all the rest of the boys. Big shout out to them. We've all done the admin. We know how tough it can be at times. So a big shout out to the boys for keeping the page going, and long may it continue.
Yeah, I think that's a great wee place to finish up, and I'll also jump in on that. For the boys who help run the page at the moment, we're always here for you. We're always there to support you whenever you need it. You reach out, you ask us, whatever it is, but never underestimate the power. I hope this conversation, this podcast is a great reminder to the boys who continuously put in the work and keep it going. Never underestimate the effect that you're having. Never underestimate the power of what you're doing. It really, really helps loads and loads of guys. So yeah, good point to finish on, David.
Brilliant.
Thanks again.
Excellent. Thanks, boys.